Pete's temperature is dangerously low. A recently leaked Red Cross report reveals that at Guantanamo, doctors have colluded with interrogators to exploit detainees' weaknesses. But for our medic, the health of the volunteers is paramount. He insists that Pete is withdrawn from the exercise after just 10 hours.
And then you end up getting hurt and all that, and then the corpsman comes or the nurse look at you and smile. Do you need any help? What do you mean, do I need any help? You see what they are doing to me and you tell me, do I need any help?
British-born Usama Tariq is next in line for questioning.
What are you doing here?
I'm just working, not doing anything wrong.
Did I say you were doing anything wrong?
Just earning a living.
How are you earning your living here?
I'm earning an honest living, helping young disadvantaged kids.
And where do you meet them?
Recruit them from the streets, just know them.
You recruit kids from the streets?
Yeah.
Once again, an honest answer is given a sinister interpretation.
Move! Walk! Move! Move!
I had very staunch, strong views beforehand. Even though this has been a short experience, I think I'm far more sympathetic to what's going on over there than I was before. I was lucky in so much that I was pulled. In the real situation, that wouldn't have happened, of course. And the detainees, I feel really sorry for them. I would hate to think what real long-term effect it would have on a person being in there for that period of time.
You terrorist motherfucker!
For the remaining volunteers, there's another 38 hours to go. And the interrogators are about to pile on the pressure.
And answer my question, stupid.
It's 12 hours into our recreation of the Guantanamo Bay regime. The 6 remaining volunteers have already been stripped naked, humiliated and exposed to extreme cold.
Lights out, ladies. Pleasant dreams.
It's about to get worse. The Pentagon has repeatedly insisted that sleep deprivation is not permitted in Guantanamo. Instead, Donald Rumsfeld specifically approved what he called sleep adjustment. This means constantly interrupting the detainees' sleep patterns to cause maximum disorientation. The guards make them swap cells arbitrarily.
Get yours off. Hurry up now!
This technique is known as scenery up, scenery down.
Get up! Stop. Kneel. Kneel. Take that blanket off. Kneel. Kneel.
Scenery up, scenery down not only disorientates the detainees, it also stops them making friends with men in other cells.
Get up, kid. Get up. Get up. Get up.
It is the middle of the night, and Chris is woken up for questioning.
Hurry up. You won't have them.
At Guantanamo, interrogations can take place at any time and last for up to 20 hours. Chris is determined to refuse to answer any questions until his interrogators identify themselves as required by the Geneva Conventions.
Sit. Okay, you can take your hood off. Take it off. Morning, sunshine.
Morning.
Do you think you might know something?
Oh, fuck, we know he knows.
Do you think you might be ready to answer some questions?
No, sir, I'm afraid I'm not.
You're not ready to answer any questions.
Not until I know who you are and why I'm here.
Chris knows this is an exercise, but he's visibly distressed.
Quit shaking.
What was going on at night to you?
First off, they have the interrogation room, which is they have a building. They call it gold building because they have silver, they have gold, they have brown.
And you called it what?
I used to call it cold building because if you see the building, in the old time, it has a fridge door, you know, those big freezers, and for the reason to keep all the cold inside. And they used to drag you there. The air condition is full blast 24 hours there, and there is a lot of equipment, you know, the music and things there, and they just stick you inside one of these rooms, which is freezing cold, and they just tie you on the ground, and you will be sitting there for one day, 36 hours, 24 hours, and they will never allow you to go to the toilet. In the beginning, we held ourselves, but in the end, we couldn't, because you can't, you have, so we start doing it on ourselves. So they realized that, and then the place got stunk, they got so bad. Then they said no more. You know, they have to take him back to go to the toilet, because they cannot afford to, because they have to be also with us in the room sometimes.
Is it true that you and other detainees after a period of time would automatically get diarrhea when you were told you were about to be interrogated?
Till now it happens. And I don't think it will change in a very short time.
Even now?
Even now, today, in this morning, because I know I'm gonna see you, I got diarrhea since 4 o'clock in the morning until now. And that's why I refuse to eat, because once you feel there is something is gonna happen, or you know, you have something going on, you get worried. And once you get worried, you start having diarrhea, because you don't know how long you're gonna be disappear, how long you're gonna go for that without a toilet. So somehow our mind worked it out that as soon you hear that you're going somewhere, or you're gonna meet an interrogator, which is, I'm not saying that you are an interrogator, but it makes you feel like that's it, I have to go to the toilet, finish, and get rid of everything in my stomach. And it happens so many times. So when you go and have interrogation, you will be sitting there for hours and hours. You don't need to ask for toilet.
I think I'd be a lot more concerned about wanting us to know who you are, given the situation you're in, because we're not sitting here with restraints on our wrists. We're not sitting here shivering.
US Secretary of State for Defense Donald Rumsfeld authorized interrogators to use deception, to exploit phobias such as fear of dogs, and to inflict mild, non-injurious physical contact.
I'm glad we have an understanding.
Released detainees say their captors beat them unconscious, threatened to murder their families, and forcibly held their heads down the toilet.
Go ahead and put your hood back on.
For now, Chris is given a brief respite. He's missed breakfast and is told to eat in double-quick time.
13 shivering. 13, what can you do about that?
Because they complained about the temperature, the others are made to exercise.
2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2.
Hurry up and eat. Do the push-ups now. Do the push-ups now.
Sweat stage.
Do the push-up.
Frustrated that they are not getting more information, the interrogators have instructed the guards to increase the pressure.
Straighten them out. Keep them up high. On the floor on your back.
The advantage of prolonged stress positions is that they cause intense pain without visible physical damage.
Oh!
Walk steady.
Pain is good.
Stress, combined with sleep deprivation, a hurried breakfast and forced exercise, has a predictable impact on Chris.
6, quickly. 7, 13, 14.
In 2013, I spoke to Victoria Britton, leading British journalist who covered Guantanamo for years. Her book, Shadow Lives, The Forgotten Women of the War on Terror, included an excerpt from a letter Shakar Amar wrote to his wife in 2006. Victoria Britton read part of Shakar Amar's letter.
I am dying here every day, mentally and physically. This is happening to all of us. We have been ignored, locked up in the middle of the ocean for years. Rather than humiliate myself having to beg for water, I would rather hurry up the process that is going to happen anyway. I would like to die quietly by myself. I was once 250 pounds. I dropped to 150 pounds in the first hunger strike. I want to make it easy on everyone. I want no feeding, no forced tubes, no help, no intensive assisted feeding. And this is my legal right. The British government refuses to help me. What is the point of my wife being British? I thought Britain stood for justice, but they abandoned us, people who have lived in Britain for years and who have British wives and children. I hold the British government responsible for my death, as I do the Americans.
That's Victoria Britton, a British human rights attorney, reading a part of Shakar Amar's letter to his wife 9 years ago in 2006.
These secret emails were recently declassified and released under America's Freedom of Information Act. They make grim reading. One FBI agent wrote he observed treatment that was not only aggressive, but personally very upsetting.
On a couple of occasions, I entered interview rooms to find a detainee chained hand and foot in a fetal position on the floor. Most times they had urinated or defecated on themselves and had been left there for 18 to 24 hours or more.
At the point of capture, all volunteers had their personal possessions with them.
2 cell phones, one of which is a camera phone.
Some of them had also agreed to carry items which could possibly be incriminating.
See what pictures he has stored on.
You lying?
No, sir.
Usama was found with a mobile phone with images downloaded from the internet of Westerners being executed in Iraq. He's told the guards that he bought the phone from a friend and didn't know how to delete the videos.
And this one has Arabic on it.
Convinced that they have found incriminating evidence, the interrogators decide to give Usama a hard time. Isra Iqbal is dragged in to witness his humiliation.
Stand there. You maggot motherfucker! I've been looking at your cell phone. You know what the fuck I'm talking about, don't you? Your little fucking video collection. You terrorist motherfucker! God damn it, I'm fucking tired of people like you.
What do you mean?
What do you think I fucking mean? What do you think? I found your cell phone. You know what you have in those video collection, don't you? Don't you?
Yes, sir.
What the fuck were you doing with that?
It's a phone that I purchased very recently from someone.
Is that what your fucking religion does for you? Is that what your lifestyle does for you? Is tolerate that kind of bullshit?
No, it's wrong. I only purchased that thing last week, so...
When I saw those videos, I was appalled.
That's not acceptable. It's not
acceptable that you're carrying it around!
It's not acceptable in my religion.
It's yours!
You don't have a religion. I think you have a religion in name only. You have no religion.
I don't...
You have no religion.
I have. I'm Muslim. No, I'm a Muslim.
A Muslim of convenience, I would say.
US military interrogators are specially taught about Muslim culture. One of the most popular training manuals is called The Arab Mind, which argues that Muslims only understand force, shame, and humiliation.
Where have you been in the States?
I've never been to the States, sir.
You ever been to Canada?
No, I haven't been to Canada.
Saudi Arabia?
Yes, I have, sir.
Can tell them about Chop Chop Square?
About?
Tell everybody about Chop Chop Square?
Chop Chop Square?
Public executions?
I've never been to see that, sir.
You don't know what you're missing.
20 hours into the exercise.
Look at this idiot's hands.
Chris's discoloured hands are a warning sign to the guards.
I think he's tightened them.
Yes, I watched him move them up.
And the hog tying, can you describe what that means? Because people won't be familiar with it.
Anyway, they use the plastic cuffs, you know. So what they do, they tie your hands, and they tie you from the back, and then they tie your hand from here, and they push it all the way back, and then they bring your leg, and they tie it to your hand. So you will be curved. So literally, you will be on the stomach, on the ground. So if you want to relax a little bit, to feel the pain release a little bit, is you have to push yourself back. You have to curve yourself more to the back, so you don't get too much pressure on your hands and your legs. But if you try to relax, so you are punishing yourself by relaxing. As soon as you relax, You push yourself down, that's mean more pressure on the wrist, more pressure on the legs, and then the pain, and then you have to go back. But you come to a stage where you can't. You have to drop, you have to just let it happen. And that's when it cuts you, it cuts your wrist, because it has, you know, those cuffs, it has those teeth inside, from inside, it's plastic. So it cuts your hand and you start bleeding. And the more you relax, the more it goes on eating against your skin, with the legs and with the thing. In fact, in my leg, I still have the mark, it didn't go away totally. The whole thing is inside the skin, the whole plastic thing is inside, and they won't even treat you. They won't even put anything, antiseptic or something to not get it infected. In the same time, I had some frostbite because of the freezing weather, and we have nothing to wear, no shoes, no nothing. And I believe it's a part of the torture. They want you to suffer all this pain, so you talk, and you tell them whatever they want to hear.
Self-harm has been a constant problem at Guantanamo. By September 2003, suicide attempts were averaging 2 a week. On one occasion, 23 detainees tried to hang themselves en masse.
Why have you done that to yourself, stupid idiot?
To avoid political embarrassment, the Pentagon reclassified suicide attempts as manipulative self-injurious behavior. The official suicide rate dropped to almost zero overnight.
My understanding is the room was left empty and you were told to tell the truth or you would die, and a gun was left on a table in front of you.
Yes.
What did you think telling the truth meant, and what was the gun for, do you think?
You know, the first thing when they left the gun behind, I knew it's one of the two. Either I'm gonna grab the gun and try to kill myself because of the situation I was in, and I was just gonna end up doing it to myself and kill myself, or either they want me to touch the gun, and then they got strict order by the guards that to shoot me because he's trying to, you know, do something to the guards or try to harm somebody. And I was just kept my eyes on the gun, just looking at it and thinking. I said, no, I'm not gonna even, you know, touch that gun. I'm not gonna even do nothing, because regardless, you know, just ignore it, just think it's not there. Even though from inside the temptation is great, you know, just end it up, you know, just end yourself here, because this is it. But I resisted that feeling. I resisted that, hey, neither, because I will never harm anybody. And truly, I can't.
Bring the terrorist here! Bring him here!
The guards know that for a Muslim to be stripped naked in front of others is deeply humiliating.
Look before you, a terrorist who thinks that everything is okay.
Let go!
Anything is justified.
You told us this.
Go!
Terrorist!
Look at him.
Terrorist, fine!
You stupid terrorist! On your knees! Go to your knees! On your knees!
How does it feel to be found out to be a terrorist?
I'm not a terrorist.
How does it feel?
Stupid pig!
No morals, no principles, nothing. Take
See what happens to terrorists.
At this stage, Usama decided he could take no more of the exercise. He had lasted just 28 hours.
As a Muslim, it's forbidden to show any private parts to anybody else. Had they have taken my clothes off in front of people who I didn't know, I would have been very humiliated.
And you were taken to Bagram airfield, and I think initially you expected the Americans to treat you well.
Yes.
As soon as you arrived, you say, abuse by US soldiers began. For example, you were taken to a concrete room and ordered to remove your clothes.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Which is, I mean, for a man from a very, very strict society when it comes to nudity, and, you know, a lot of people, they don't understand. When we are like 3 years old, that's it. After 3 years old, nobody will ever see you naked, because that's when the time when you learn how to go to the toilet by yourself. And then a man who's 40 years old or 38 years old at that time, you know, get ordered to strip naked in front of a lot of men and women, and I mean, if you are really worried that I carry something underneath me, I mean, you can feel me, you can see that I'm not carrying nothing. But actually they were doing it for the sake of humiliation, so for the sake of breaking.
My heart bleeds for those detainees currently in Guantanamo, guilty or not guilty. I feel a scar would be left in their minds for the rest of their lives.
Only 5 volunteers now remain, and with less than a day to go, the interrogators must resort to their toughest methods yet.
This is what you are to me.
The volunteers are 36 hours into the exercise. At the real Guantanamo, more than 500 prisoners are now entering the 4th year of incarceration, still with no prospect of a trial. Before all 9 British detainees were released, Foreign Office officials and British MI5 officers regularly visited the detention camp. But the British government has never publicly criticised the coercive techniques used there by interrogators. It is the middle of the night, but the guards wake the volunteers with the morning call to prayer. At Guantanamo, the guards take any opportunity to provoke the Muslim detainees.
Need anything for your prayer time? Do you need anything for your prayer time?
Previously, the guards have deliberately made it hard for Fawzi Warich to prepare himself for prayer by giving him only ice-cold water to wash in.
What do you need?
Nothing, sir.
Nothing? Before you needed water, you not need water?
Water's too cold, sir.
What?
Water's too cold, sir.
Oh, so if it's inconvenient for you, then it doesn't matter, is that what you're saying?
No, when you don't have water, sir, you use dust instead.
Well, you have water if you want it.
It's too cold, sir.
Oh, so it's inconvenient for you to be uncomfortable in your religion? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Very interesting religion. Continue.
Thanks, sir.
Fawzi opts for the ancient Islamic purification ritual of washing with dust.
And there is no water, nothing whatsoever. They give you a small toilet paper, you know, those comes in the MREs, the ready meal. They're small, and that's all. You just have to wipe yourself with it. No praying, no nothing, no washing up. And we have to end up just making something called tayammum, you know, just on the dust, because we have no water to wash up ourselves to pray. And it was so much humiliation that you feel like they deprived you from your humanity, which is something didn't happen with the Northern Alliance.
And you were expected, I think, to use the toilet in front of these people who were pointing guns at you.
Actually, there was another incident that happened. After 25 days, I used the toilet, by the way.
After 25 days?
25 days. That's the first time I used the toilet, and it was the most horrible time I used the toilet, because I wish I didn't even go to the toilet at that time. But we were doing it like animals. They pull your trouser down, and there is a big hole in the ground, and there is 2 doors. The hangar doors itself is being set on the holes, and there is a small gap. And all of them, they're just sitting there laughing, joking with their M16 facing you from the 2nd floor, then the 1st floor, 2 guards sitting there, and they're just talking and saying rubbish things about your private parts while you are just sitting there.
Everyone at once, put them in front and go in and check their stalls.
And they won't even accept your hands to be shackled. So they spray you in your face, and then they come with the shield so fast, and they just mash you in your face, and they push you down, and then the other guards, they pull you down, throw you on the floor, and they try to pin you down with your face again on the toilet. But now it's against my will. I cannot help it. What can I do? And then they tie you from the back, and they put your legs, and they push against your back until they shackle you, and then they pick you up, and then they throw you outside on the floor, which is a very dirty floor, and they flip you back and forth, and they search you and all that, and they keep you in that position for a while. While all this happening, is the camera really filming you? No, it's just looking at the guards. And as soon they come inside, what they start screaming? Stop resisting, which is amazing, because you're not really resisting. But then I figure out the whole reason why they say that, because they do a lot of things to you, they choke you and all that. And when you start moving around, so the camera says, oh, he's resisting, so these guys, they're trying to stop him. And then after that, they keep you in that position, they go inside, they search the cell, and then they take everything out. And then they throw you back in your cell, sometimes after 1 hour, after 2 hours, after 10, 15 minutes. It varies. It depends how much you were resisting. It depends how much they want to really put you under a lot of pain. After that, they put you with nothing. With nothing. You can be sleeping with nothing for days and days and days.
Detainees at Guantanamo are never allowed to settle. To cause them even further stress, the guards carry out frequent and random searches.
You want them in cuffs?
3% forward and kneel is fine.
3 steps forward and kneel. 3 steps forward.
It's an opportunity for humiliation. The guards target Gary Turner by planting a porn magazine in his cage.
What is that?
Look at this. This is 91s.
Released Guantanamo detainees have reported a variety of sexual humiliation techniques.
What is this, 91?
I have no idea, sir.
It's in your cell.
It's in your room.
They say they have been threatened with rape, demeaned by prostitutes brought into the camp, smeared with menstrual blood, and degraded by pornography.
Forced extraction is for a lot of people. They say, okay, 6 guards come inside, take you outside. But this is not really, this is not how it is. It's not just that. Because it's like, it's been, the whole program in Guantanamo is being designed by psychologists, by people, they know how to manipulate you, how to make you get scared because of whatever you did, this is what's going to happen. And that's why they do it in a certain way, in a very special way. So the guard come and ask you for very little thing, like a pack of salt that he didn't find in the meal. Where is the pack of salt? You're not supposed to keep it. And maybe you didn't even have the pack of salt. And you tell him, maybe I don't have it. I didn't get salt. Where am I going to bring it to you from? He said, give me the pack of salt. He said, I don't have it. And then, like I told you, they start coming. There's like 6 guards. And you will find yourself 15, 17 people coming towards you, while all these guards from the beginning of the tier of the block marching with big, heavy steps, doof, doof, doof. And you will be waiting, oh my God, and everybody shouting, they are coming, they are coming. Because, they want you to get ready, because sometimes they don't even wait to tell you anything. They just open the door and they just march inside with force. And then they come in front of the door and they start shouting, go down, put your face down on the floor, put your hands behind you, things like that. But most of the time, when we used to be back in Camp 1, 2, 3, we refused to lay down on our stomach because your head has to be in the toilet, which is another humiliation. You have to stick your heads with your own self on the toilet just to let them in. And we refuse to do that. So you will be saying, hey, I'm sitting on the bed. They won't accept it. And if you go to the bed, that's mean you are asking for trouble. That's mean you are refusing order. And most of the time they all see you. They spray you with gas, with that pepper spray. And over what? Over a bag of salt.
Or the stem from an apple.
Or the stem from an apple. Which is amazing. That's why I want somebody, when he hear the story, you're talking about a stem. You're talking about an empty bag of salt. If they are willing to do all this for these little things, so would you think a little bit what they want to do to you because of interrogation, because of, as they say, information? A lot worse than this. And this is on daily basis. This is can happen 5, 6, 7 times a day for the same person. Because they keep changing guards. They keep, one team goes, another team comes, fresh team. But, I'm still me.
Before he volunteered for the exercise, Gary Turner supported the use of coercive interrogation techniques.
Sometimes circumstances will dictate stronger methods of interrogation than the legal ones put forward. I believe that it's necessary to use them to extract the right information to save lives.
You have a friend who is homosexual.
Yes, I do.
What does that say about your moral fiber?
As the guards haul Gary off for further questioning, the rest of the prisoners are put into stress positions. Because of his continuing defiance, Chris Gelf is singled out. Although enforced stress positions are illegal under international law, the Pentagon has sanctioned their use for up to 4 hours.
Sir, cramp, sir.
This is defined as torture by the United Nations.
It's slipping, sir. It's cramped. It's cramped. It's cramped. The side muscle's gone.
It's a cramp? What do you want me to do about it? Give more water.
The guards repeatedly allow Chris to recover in order to prolong his agony.
Every time I've told you to do something, you have failed to comply every single time. Every single fucking time you failed to comply with any rule that I've given you. You like to find me?
No, sir.
Then why do you do it?
Because I'm weak.
You're weak.
Yes.
We've all had girlfriends, haven't we?
For Gary, there's pressure of a psychological kind. Short-shackled and blindfolded, his interrogators begin to sexually harass him.
Sir, could you not stop touching me, please?
Could I not stop touching you?
Could
You better
you stop
believe it.
touching me? Thank you very much.
All right, I'm going to take care of you. You're too tense right now.
Yeah,
You
there's a very
relax.
good reason why.
You relax.
At Guantanamo, detainees have been both sexually harassed and assaulted. The FBI reported one incident that took place during Ramadan, when physical contact with women is particularly offensive to some Muslim men.
The FBI agent observed a female interrogator apparently whispering in the detainee's ear and caressing and applying lotions to his arms. Although the agent could not see her hands at all times, he saw them moving towards the detainee's lap.
In a statement that you gave to the Metropolitan Police, you said that in 2005 you were effectively sexually assaulted by one of the guards. Could I ask you about that?
I mean, the whole thing about sexual assaulting, you know, because it's different from my perspective, how it happened to me and all that, from a Western society perspective. Because for me, when somebody stick his hand and, you know, rub against your private part, when they strip you naked and they do things, you know, that's all sexual harassment. That's you know, even though for them they said it's a search, you know, we're conducting, you know, private search because we believe he's hiding something, and they used to do it a lot. When they see me resisting and we're refusing to do what they want, straight away they said, you know, we're gonna search you. And I know, and most of the time I refuse. And they do the same thing. They see me and they strip me naked, and it's always been filmed. And I asked them, you know, if they claim that they didn't do it, I asked them, you know, you got the films, you know, you can show the people what you are doing when you doing your search, and let the world judge, is that really a search or that sexual harassment?
I tell you what, I'll take care of you later, don't worry, okay? Just between you and me.
Concerned about the legality of evidence obtained under duress, the Pentagon withdrew approval for the most extreme coercive techniques in January 2003. But reports from released detainees, the Red Cross and the FBI all confirmed the continuing use of these methods.
Have you had time to reflect on the errors of your ways? You can believe me when I say to you something really bad is going to happen to you that I am going to enjoy very much. Very, very much. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Chris is first placed in solitary confinement. This time, the guards are using sensory deprivation. He's blindfolded and bombarded with white noise. At Guantanamo, detainees say they have spent up to 18 months in total isolation. FBI reports detailed their deteriorating mental health. One agent noted a prisoner's
extreme psychological trauma. Talking to non-existent people, reporting hearing voices.
Another agent wrote,
the detainee was almost unconscious on the floor, with a pile of hair next to him. He had apparently been literally pulling his own hair out throughout the night.
Weak with hunger and disorientated from solitary confinement and sensory deprivation, he's returned to his cage. But the interrogators haven't finished with him yet. Without warning, guards at Guantanamo can deploy the Extreme Reaction Force, a punishment squad dressed in riot gear.
Stand up. Look to the center. Stand up. Look to the center. Stand up.
Released detainees have reported severe beatings, the use of pepper spray, and forced nudity, a tactic specifically sanctioned by the Pentagon, but defined by the United Nations as illegal and degrading.
This is what happens to liars. This is what will continue to happen to liars. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Get down.
Forward. You don't deserve to walk like men.
But actually after that, you know, we came to, as the whole scenery, you've seen it in the media, where we are standing on our knees. They don't allow us to sit. They don't allow us. We have to be on our knees. And they keep shouting, on your knees, on your knees.
Move it!
Like the animal you are. We've made reservations for you to include entertainment.
Another session of white noise, but this time shackled in a stream of cold air. The UN defines this as torture. Laboratory experiments in sensory deprivation have shown that subjects begin to hallucinate after just 40 minutes. FBI agents discovered detainees in Guantanamo left for up to 24 hours, shaking with cold in air-conditioned rooms with strobe lights and loud music. Sensory deprivation is followed by rapid-fire interrogation.
Take him away. This is actually a study permit.
What have you allowed to happen to you? Answer me. Look at me and answer me.
Don't know, sir.
I told you many bad things are going to happen to you. You happy not telling the truth? Are you? Answer me. Answer me.
No, sir.
Why don't you tell the truth?
I told you all I know.
Very well.
You didn't know this prison had a barber shop, did you?
No, sir.
Who next? Free chops.
At Guantanamo, individual punishments are often staged publicly to intimidate other detainees. US Secretary of State for Defense Donald Rumsfeld approved a technique called forced grooming, including shaving Muslims, many of whom grow their beards out of respect for Muhammad. This makes it illegal under the Geneva Conventions, which state that POWs must be allowed to exercise their religious duties.
Some of the things that you have described happened to you at Guantanamo Bay were initially approved by the then US Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld and then rescinded several months later. He withdrew permission to use the kind of things that had happened to you. Yet you're saying that kind of mistreatment continued months, if not years, after Mr. Rumsfeld had apparently withdrawn his permission for use of them at Guantanamo.
You see, the whole thing about Guantanamo, people have to understand this, because it's closed down from the public, because nobody can really understand what's going on there, because nobody can see what's going on there. Nobody can ask detainees, nobody can talk to the human being. And every time somebody comes there, it's totally staged. It's totally been prepared. They know nobody can touch them. Not long ago, few months ago, people have been thrown in that place where I called you Echo 5 with nothing, in the freezing cold. And these guys, they were hunger striker. These guys, some of them, they weigh under 100 pounds. And by Allah, they are sitting in there for a week with nothing. So there is no such thing in old Guantanamo, new Guantanamo. That was in the past. This is the future. They did it. We didn't agree with it because it was wrong. Now that, no, it's not. It's still happening. It's still happening. People still getting frozen. If they complain, if they start shouting, they freeze them to death. They turn the air condition all the way and people start shaking all night long, all day long. They can't sleep. What do you call that? Is that torture? When a man's starving Starving. The guy cannot eat the food because of allergies, because of his stomach. And then you ask for an apple. An apple. And they refuse to give it to you. And they said, I'm sorry. SOP says I cannot give it to you. And he throw it in front of you in the garbage. Clothes. There is no clothes. There is no food. There is no detergent. There is no toothbrush, toothpaste. And it's very sad to talk about that. But it's important. It is important when somebody sitting there, he cannot even find basics. And then you're telling me we treat them like we treat our guards? A load of lies. Lies and after lies and after lies.
There's not much more for you to lose, is there? Oh, sure. But you're wrong. There's much for you to lose. Dignity, self-respect, self-image, all these little tiny parts of your psyche that I'm going to take a scalpel to and dissect and take apart and play with. I'm going to eat your psyche.
Fauci is hauled in to see what's happening to Chris.
My friend, you see what fate awaits liars? Do you? Yes, sir.
What do you think?
You just tell me how you contact
All you need to do, just tell us the truth.
I said,
And this doesn't have to happen to you. What do you think?
So your turn is here.
It's coming very soon.
Put him away. I'll be back for him.
After 2 hours of sensory deprivation, Chris asks to speak to his interrogator.
What do you want to talk about?
I've had enough. I'll tell you everything.
It has taken just 40 hours to break him.
That's me done. I can take no more. I went out.
Before the exercise, Chris was ambivalent about Guantanamo Bay. Now he's clear.
The idea that we could put someone in Guantanamo indefinitely is, I think, inhuman. And having been through a mild simulation of that, the idea of that without end really terrifies me. And it completely torpedoes the sort of presumption of innocence versus guilt, because by the time they try you, you're going to be insane. I mean, you really are. And for that reason alone, I think Guantanamo, even if we use it only for the most evil of evil, I now have very serious reservations about it.
But despite their non-POW status, the US government insists that they are treated within the spirit of international law.
And what's taking place down there is responsible, it's humane, it's legal, it's proper, it's consistent with the Geneva Conventions.
Where Bubba grew up, kept his tobacco chew up. And when they used to hang ropes, they always kept two up. Had process burning all night like a church blew up. And if you didn't look like them, they would fuck you up. Time passed, Bubba turned 40 years old. And all them Jack Daniels started taking a toll. Seemed like Bubba was about to make a final bow. And none of his friends from the clan couldn't help him down. Family gathered at his bedside, ready to sing the blues, when a doctor rushed in and said, I have some news. The good news is, Bubba, I found you a liver. Only bad news is it belongs to a nigga. Do you care about the texture of his hair or the cocoa brown color of his skin? Do you still care? Do you still give a damn? Now you're in a predicament, yo. Do you still care? Does it still mean a lot now you're the one who's needing the help? Do you still care? Do you find it hard to love your neighbor as yourself now? Tell me, why can't you accept?